the ways in which we tend to our hearts. And this book is dedicated to my mom, who yes. She's also a writer, author, minister, and last year transitioned to light, as Dr. Jaya would say, as a result of breast cancer. And she is the heart of this book, because I know not everyone was blessed to have this, but I was blessed to have a mother who loved fiercely. Yes. I mean, fiercely, unconditionally, seriously. Yes. And to the point where I had a friend who met my mother, and after she met her, she said, "Thema, I wonder who I would be if I had your mother." Wow. And it's true. Right? It's not by accident that I landed here. So even when you think about like, oh, what gave you the confidence to write a book? When I was like 8 years old, my mother would give my brother and I journals and would literally say to us, go to your room and write for 30 minutes on what it will take to fix the world. And look, and I would take my little journal, because I think she said it in such a serious way, I thought I must know the answer. So I'm just like, well, first, what we need to do it. And so then it's not by accident that I showed up in spaces and thought that my voice should count.
That's right.
Right? That thought that I should matter. That thought I don't have to be intimidated. Right? And so that is a gift that we can give each other to love fiercely. And let me say, even if you didn't get it from a biological parent, it could be a teacher, a mentor, somebody who sees you. Somebody who sees you and honors you and waters you. And when we get that, we show up to life differently. And it starts with this self-love. So the first section of the book is really focused on us loving ourselves, and you can't really write what you haven't lived. Yes? And so these first sections talk about releasing self-abandonment and self-neglect. Self-abandonment and self-neglect. What do I know about that? I was speaking somewhere and the person saw my bio, and it's pretty long. And so she said to me, before she introduced me, "When do you sleep?" I said, "That's a good question. That's a real good question." And so I had to heal the story I had been told, which was as a girl child, and I was also a pastor's daughter, that whenever anybody needs something from you, you're supposed to say yes. That's the message that we get, that self-sacrifice and being available for everyone all the time means you're a good person. You're a good girl. You're a good person of faith. You're a good friend when you need nothing and you're available for everybody else. And so I had to have a reckoning and a healing of my own self-neglect. I had to release that script. So one of the moments that happened was when I first started working as a therapist, and I was talking with a client, and I'm giving this heartfelt speech, Tabitha, about why it's so important to take care of yourself. And I meant every word of it. And in the middle of my speech to this client, my stomach started growling.
They go talk about
I said, ooh, I'm going to have a session with myself, right? That I'm talking about how you are worthy of care, you're worthy of love. And what I would do is when people would call for a session and my whole day was booked, I would say, what's more important, a sandwich or somebody's healing?
Well.
Foolishness. Turn and tell somebody that's foolishness. That's foolishness. So it's a false choice. And so I had to have a meeting with myself where I had to decide, Do I just want to speak it or do I want to live it? Do I want to just say it or do I believe it? And so if I believe it, then I have to shift and take care of myself. And so I invite you, if it aligns with you, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, to say, I am worthy of care. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of wholeness. I receive it. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. So we have to become intentional about the ways in which we will no longer erase ourselves. We want to be intentional about the ways that we have abandoned ourselves. And I want you to know that when you shift out of self-abandonment and self-neglect, some people won't like it.
Right.
Some people like you quiet. They like you as a doormat. They like you saying whatever you like, whatever you like, whatever. No, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, whatever you like. Get some opinions, then you'll see who your friends are. Right? And so that will be a gift, because I like to not give false advertisement. I don't say once you heal, everything is going to be golden. Once you heal, everything's going to change. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
And your relationships will reveal themselves, because there will be people who will celebrate you, and then there will be people who are disappointed and upset with you because you no longer serve all of their needs. And so welcome home to yourself. Welcome home to yourself. So I make a decision that I will no longer abandon nor neglect myself. And because we talk so beautifully about self-care, I'm going to just spend a few minutes focusing on relationship dynamics. And so the first thing that I want to say is when I was a young woman, maybe even in my late teens, I used to think that I had to pick the best of my options even when I didn't have good options. Right? So let's say 3 people like me, and they're all no good.
Right.
You see?
I would pick the best of the bad, right? Which is still bad, but I'm like, it's better than him, and better than him. And so a part of my growth was to discover there are seasons of your life where you have to pick none of the above. None of the above. None of the above. Instead of clinging to crumbs. And so there is a chapter called Releasing People Who Do Not Love You. And we spend so much time, weeks, months, years of our lives pursuing loveless situations. And we break our own heart. We break our own heart by participating. Dr. Shelley Harrell likes to say, I will not participate in my own oppression. I will not participate. So it's one thing if someone dishonors me, but why am I calling them back? Right? Let the dishonor be the closure. Let the dishonor be, there's nothing confusing here. It's actually quite clear. And so I invite you to know that there are seasons for none of the above, so that you can choose yourself. So that you can choose yourself. We also want to be aware of emotional unavailability. Now, we often are able to recognize that in other people, but we don't recognize it in ourselves. If I continuously am drawn to people who are unavailable in reality or emotionally, it's because I'm unavailable. Okay? Right? It's like, and I'm complaining. Right? okay? I'm complaining like, oh my goodness, it's not available. Well, look at you still over there. Look at you.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I discovered is sometimes we don't just lie to other people, sometimes we lie to ourselves.
Right.
And so let me not deceive myself. And let me also say along these lines that sometimes people usually think when they hear that story that it's based in insecurity. And for some people it is. But some of us are overconfident. You're like, I'm going to wear them down. Right? They're going to see how good I am. They're going to see I'm going to heal them with my love. And so as you are trying to heal someone else with your love, Dr. Jaya just talked about it, my own ground is hard. My own ground is hard because I'm in a place of self-neglect. And so when I heal my heart, my taste change. When I heal my heart, things I used to tolerate are intolerable. Things I used to accept are unacceptable because I love me. When I don't love me, any old thing will do. And some of us, there's another chapter on our relationship beliefs. So we have to heal our assumptions and beliefs because some of us think other people are worthy and deserving of good love, but not us. For whatever reason, we feel disqualified. And I want to invite you, for matters of the heart, to recognize loving is a faith walk. It requires that I believe for what I have yet to experience. If you have never been loved well, nourished well, treated well, it can be hard to believe. And so a lot of people who I work with make the mistake of only operating based on comparison. So if you have been treated poorly, then you'll say this is better. And it might be better, but that other thing was so tragic that you're impressed by breadcrumbs, by nothing. But I get why it feels amazing because you're used to being ignored and mistreated and misused. So this feels fabulous. Can you believe for what you have yet to experience? Can you hold on to yourself in the meantime? In the in-between time? Can you say that exiting a bad situation is worth it even if I don't quickly land in a good one? Sometimes, thank you, drummer. Sometimes we hold on until, so we're juggling people because you're waiting for the replacement to show up before you release. And so I want to invite you to release to receive, to release to receive, to release even to receive your own love, to release even to receive your own joy. And so we think about maximizing ourselves and taking ourselves to the next level. So I just want to read something short, and then we will take a few minutes to answer your questions. So get your questions ready. Okay. Forget that. I need to say this. I'm still going to take your questions, but instead of, I was about to read something very flowery and affirming, but I need to deal with the chapter that's making everybody mad, chapter 16, healing control issues. Yeah, let's go there. It was like, look, man, just stopped me. It arrested me. Because somebody in here is controlling. I'm not looking at any, look at me. If you sit with your family, they might be like, let me tell you, I come to this topic with a lot of compassion. because you're welcome. I recognize being controlling is rooted in anxiety, right? We are afraid that if we don't control it, it's gonna go in a bad direction. And so we don't trust people to do the quote unquote right thing, or we don't trust people to walk their own journey and path. We try to dictate it, and that ends up destroying our relationships, our connections. I was talking to a dear sister who was putting on a program and had a bunch of volunteers, and she said to me kind of spontaneously, Thema, I don't know what's going on because the program is coming up and none of the people will call me back. You done traumatized your volunteers. That's what you have done. You have run people in a hole where now they won't take your calls. Yes? So we have to shift. As my mother would say, it does matter how you treat people. It does matter how you treat people. And when people feel run over, even as we can apply this to our governmental landscape, when people feel misused and abused and dismissed and dishonored, eventually they revolt. Eventually they revolt. And so if you actually want healthy relationships and healthy connections, you have to ask yourself, am I willing to accept and love them in their current condition? Because some of us are in love with potential, whether that's romantic or friendship or our children or our parents. It's like, if only they would obey me, they would be great. Right? And so I have to be very honest about, can I love you for you, not for who I am trying to make you? And if it's friendship or romantic and the answer is no, set them free. Because somebody will love them in their current state. And then you continue on your journey so you can actually find someone who fulfills you, instead of trying to make someone in your likeness and image. Yes? And so I release the illusion of control. I release the illusion of control. And so I'm going to ask you to rest your hands on your lap, palms up, and repeat after me if it aligns with you. I love with open hands. I honor my loved ones. I trust that I do not have to carry the world on my shoulders. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Congratulations for being on the healing journey of your heart. Reflect on your process and visualize your loving life. You have to see it so you can create it. I will end with a story I shared here that was said by an African prophet I heard preaching one Sunday, and he said, if I give you $100 bill, how much is it worth? How much is it worth? $100 bill. How much? This is not hard. If I ball it up, how much is it worth? If I put it under my foot, how much is it worth? If I throw it in the trash, how much is it worth? You have not lost your value. You've been mistreated. You've been discarded. You know something about abandonment. You know something about neglect. But your divine, sacred worth cannot be erased. Give yourselves a big hand.